Hello there. We might finish this today. Romeo and Juliet. Right, let's go over this again, just to remind ourselves of what happened. Romeo's been exiled. Juliet's doing this nutty plan of Friar Lawrence, where she has faked her own death, and it appears to have worked. Now Lawrence has sent a monk to tell Romeo that there's a plan afoot that you don't want to explain it all, and then Romeo, in the cover of night, will sneak back into Verona, and then Friar Lawrence will help him and Juliet escape. Yay! What could possibly go wrong? Okay, let's have a look. So, Romeo here, look, he's in Mantua, he's in exile, hooray! And he's there. And again, we're talking about fate. We're talking about, you know what, premonitions of what's going to happen. If I may trust the flattering truth of sleep, my dreams presage some joyful news at hand. Oh, he's in a good mood now. I've dreamed there's good news coming. My bosom's lord sit lightly in his throne, and all this day an accustomed spirit lifts me above the ground with cheerful thoughts. I dreamt my lady came and found me dead. Strange dream that gives a dead man leave to think, and breathed such life with kisses on my lips that I revived and was an emperor. Ah me, how sweet is love itself possessed, when but love's shadows are so rich in joy. Oh, so you know, Shakespeare again, playing with the audience's feelings. We're excited now, the plan's working, and Romeo's even having happy dreams. A weird dream though, one to bear in mind. He dreamed that he was dead, but he could still see. And Juliet found him, kissed him, and brought him back to life. Oh, wow, I suppose. Isn't that the plan? That in reverse, Romeo will find Juliet dead, and she will come to life. Oh. And now, our final new character. Well, I suppose there are a couple of new characters. I've not bothered making little icons for them because they're very minor. But this guy's quite important. It's Balthazar. And Balthazar is Romeo's page, his servant. And suddenly he arrives. So Romeo's just said, oh, I feel there's good news coming. And then, hey, here's Balthazar booted. Doesn't mean he's been kicked. It means he's got his boots on because he's just ridden his horse all the way from Verona to Mantua to give him news. Sorry, back to Romeo. News from Verona. How now, Balthazar? Dost thou not bring me letters from the friar? How doth my lady? Is my father well? How fares my Juliet? That I ask again, for nothing can be ill if she be well. Then she is well, and nothing can be ill. Her body sleeps in Capel's monument, and her immortal part with angels lives. I saw her laid low in her kindred's vault, and presently took post to tell it you. Oh, pardon me for bringing these ill news, since you did leave it for my office, sir. Oh. Now here's a problem. Balthazar, of course, does not know about the plot. He's seen Juliet getting buried, getting taken into the tomb. And he's got to Romeo before this monk that Friar Lawrence has sent. Oh, so Romeo thinks Juliet's dead. Is e'en so? Then I defy you, stars, thou knowest my lodging. Get me ink and paper, and hire post horses. I will hence tonight. Yes, he's going to ride to Verona tonight. Oh dear. I defy you, stars. Yeah, remember that's about fate, and I was saying, I defy you, stars. I'll decide my own fate from now on. I hate you for what you've just done to me, killing Juliet. He's going to hire post horses. Sorry. It's too far for one horse to ride, so what you could do was rent horses, and then so you ride to the place where you rented the horse, leave your horse there, take the next horse, ride it to the next rental point, if you like. It's a bit like, you know, sort of like when you pay to get a bike to ride around London in a way, except, well, a lot of these places, for example, would be pubs. They'd have stables there, or post horses, yeah, post offices, because how else do they get the letters around? And so you see that there's an example down at the bottom of Marford Hill. There's a pub, is it Trevor Arms? And it's got a big entrance because it's a stable as well, because that was like a coaching inn. So you could rent a horse there to continue your journey, because horses get tired, bless them. Oh. Balthazar tries to talk him out of it because he knows Romeo's going to go to Verona to kill himself, isn't he? He's always said he can't live without her. I do beseech you, sir, have patience. You look so pale and wild and do import some misadventure. Tush, art deceived. Leave me. Do the thing I bid thee do. Hast thou no letters for me from the friar? Oh, has the friar sent a message? No, my good lord. I wish he'd sent the message of him. No matter, get thee gone, and hire those horses. I'll be with thee straight. And then, as I say, obvious what he's going to do. Well, Juliet, I will lie with thee tonight, yeah? I will kill myself, I will be with you tonight. Let's see, for means, O mischief thou, swift to enter in the thought of desperate men. So immediately he thinks, I do remember an apothecary, a chemist, and hereabouts he dwells, which later noted in tattered weeds with overwhelming brows, culling of simples, meagre were his looks, sharp misery had worn him to the bones, and in his needy shop a tortoise hung, an alligator stuffed on other skins of ill-shaped fishes, and above his shelves a beggarly account of empty boxes, green earthen pots, bladders and musty seeds, remnants of packed thread and old cakes of roses were thinly scattered to make up a show. Noting this penury, to myself I said, and if a man did need a poison now, whose sale is present death in Mantua, here lies a caitiff wretch would sell it him. Or this same thought did but forerun my need, and this same needy man must sell it me. As I remember, this should be the house. Being holiday, the beggar's shop is shut. So he goes to this chemist. He said he noticed when he arrived in Mantua, a chemist. And it was he looked really poor. He's in tattered clothes. His shop looks a bit desperate. And so he said he thought then, God, if somebody needed to buy poison, because selling poison was illegal. If somebody wanted to buy poison, this would be the man to get it from. He's so desperate, he'd do anything to get some money. And so basically, I'll skip this bit because, to be honest, you don't really need. It's basically a transaction. Romeo, because he needs the poison, goes and says, can I have the poison? And the chemist says no, because it's illegal. And so Romeo says, you're so poor that, mate, you're not gonna turn down my money, mate, are you? So you're so poor and you fear to die. Don't be so daft. There's famine in your cheeks. And so he gives him a good chunk of money. No use to him then if he's going to kill himself. And there you go. This next bit I'll sort of skip past a bit, but it's Friar John, the guy that Friar Lawrence sent to Juliet, and flaming hell, he's not a bright lad, okay? So basically, Friar Lawrence, oh good, he's here. I haven't made a logo for him either because he's only here briefly. And he says, welcome from Mantua, says Lawrence. What says Romeo? Or if his mind be wrecked, give me his letter. So, and there we go. Friar John, he says, going to find a barefoot brother out, one of our order, to associate me here in this city, visiting the sick, and finding him, the searchers of the town, suspecting that we were both in a house where the infectious pestilence did reign, sealed up the doors and would not let us forth, so that my speed to Mantua there was stayed. So, oh, hold on. Lawrence says, this is urgent, mate. Get yourself to Mantua quickly. So what does Friar John do? He says, okay, I'll have to find a friend to come with me. Balthazar didn't. And he goes along and he finds his friend. He wants to find another friar, another monk. And he finds this guy. But the bloke has been going around visiting plague victims now. It's uncomfortably similar to our current experiences, this. And basically, this guy's been going around visiting plague victims, and the authorities come round and they say, you've been visiting plague victims, so you have to be isolated. And so they're locked in the house. This was common. This is the Black Plague. You know, this is very, very common in those days. If you had it, you're locked in your house and you stay there until you're cured, or much more likely with the Black Death, you die. Here's my fab Wrexham history fact. I always throw it at this point. You know Bodyford, the Welsh language primary school? And it's on Brynnacabarnau Road. And Brynnacabarnau is Welsh for the hill of cabins, because that was where they sent people for the plague. If people had the plague, they'd send people there, because then those houses by there weren't there, so that was more out in the countryside. And they had wooden cabins, like wooden sheds, and they basically would have to stay in there till they died. And they were wooden, because then they'd burn them down with the bodies inside, so that the plague didn't spread from those people. What a happy way to name a street. I don't know. So, he has gone to see his mate, and he's been quarantined. He's been isolated. Friar Lawrence, not amused. Who bear my letter then to Romeo? I could not send it. Here it is again. Oh, well done, son. So he didn't send a letter. He gives it back to Friar Lawrence. And Friar Lawrence now is, oh, poo, this is bad. Yeah? Unhappy fortune. By my brotherhood, the letter was not nice, but full of charge of dear import. This is an important letter. And the neglecting it may do much danger. Friar John, go hence. Get me an iron crow and bring it straight into my cell. Yeah? Not a crow as in an iron bird. That would be awesome. But a crowbar. You know, a crowbar he used to force doors open. He's going to go to the tomb. He's got to try and get to Juliet now before Romeo does. Yeah? Now must I to the monument alone. Within 3 hours will fair Juliet wake. She will beshrew me much that Romeo hath had no notice of these accidents. But I will write again to Mantua and keep her at my cell till Romeo come. Poor living corpse closed in a dead man's tomb. So as you're going to get there, he's got to try and get there first. And now, just to make matters even more complicated, here we are now in the churchyard at the tomb of the Capulets where Juliet is buried. And who's there? Paris. Oh dear, Paris is there with his servants. Because Paris, let's not forget, was supposed to get married to Juliet today. Bless him. Now, here he is. So, he's obviously sad, and he's sort of standing watch, if you will. Give me thy torch, boy. Hence and stand aloof. Yet put it out, for I would not be seen. And the yon's yew trees lay thee all along, holding thy ear close to the hollow ground. So shall no foot upon the churchyard tread, being loose and firm with digging up of graves, but thou shalt hear it. Oops, sorry, my laptop's gone a bit slow. Doesn't like it, does it? Oh, hello. So he's told his page, just go and sort of stand watch. He's frightened, the page. I'm scared, he said. But he's going to stay on his own. And then Paris, who's like holding this vigil, making the soliloquy to Juliet. Sweet flower with flowers like bridal bread strew. O woe, thy canopy is dust and stones, which with sweet water nightly I will dew, or wanting that, with tears distilled by moans, the obsequies that I for thee will keep nightly, shall be to strew thy grave and weep. Ah, I will come here every night, and I will cry. Yeah, your funeral flowers as your wedding bouquet, and I will water them nightly with my tears. And then his page whistles, telling you someone's coming. Yeah, the boy gives warning, something doth approach. What cursed foot wanders this way tonight, to cross my obsequies and true love's right? What with a torch? Muffle me, knight, a while. So he hides and looks, and here comes Romeo and Balthazar, got a torch and a mattock, which is also a sort of crowbar to break in. Oh boy. Give me that mattock and the wrenching iron. Oh, where's it gone? Oh, I didn't touch that. Oh, man. Things are going a little slowly again, I'm afraid. Here we are. There you go. Give me that mattock and the wrenching iron. Hold, take this letter. Early in the morning, see thou deliver it to my lord and father. Give me the light. Upon my life I charge thee. Whatever thou hearest or seest, stand all aloof, and do not interrupt me in my course. Yeah? So, stay away. Give this letter to my father, like a suicide note, probably explaining everything, and then stay away. Don't care what you hear or see, don't interrupt me. Why I descend into this bed of death is partly to behold my lady's face, but chiefly to take thence from her dead finger a precious ring, a ring that I must use in dear employment. So he lies to Balthazar. He says, look, I'm not going to kill myself. The reason I'm doing this is I want to go and see her face one last time, and I gave her a very precious ring that I need. I didn't think she's going to die, did I? So I need to go down and get it. Therefore, hence be gone. But if thou jealous dost return to pry, in what I further shall intend to do, by heaven, I will tear thee joint by joint and strew this hungry churchyard. My laptop, as you can see, is really winding me up. Sorry. Come on. Hey ho. Well, basically, as you heard, he said that you'll kill him. He said, if you come back, I'll kill you. I'll tear you to pieces and throw your body around the churchyard. Yeah. Still go right. I know. There we are. Because he's desperate. He's and angry. He's more fierce than empty tigers or the roaring sea. Balthazar. Oh, I'll go then, boss. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Faye says, live and be prosperous and farewell, good fellow. And Balthazar says, I'll hide here just in case. But now Romeo turns to the tomb. Thou detestable maw, thou womb of death, gorge of the dearest morsel of the earth. Thus I enforce thy rotten jaws to open, and in despite I'll cram thee with more food. There was great imagery, personification, making a thing into a person. So he describes the grave, the tomb, like some horrible monster. It's a disgusting stomach, a womb of death. It's eaten up the most tasty morsel on earth, Juliet. And so he with the crowbar, he forces open its rotten jaws because he's going to cram it with more food. I'm going to add myself to your stomach. I'm going to kill myself and be down there. And Paris recognizes who it is. This is that banished haughty Montague that murdered my love's cousin, with which grief it's supposed the fair creature died, and here is come to do some villainous shame to the dead bodies. I will apprehend him. So he thinks, well, firstly, he said, Romeo, that's Romeo, he's the guy who killed, and then we all assume that Juliet died out of grief because Tybalt was dead. So he's blaming Romeo for the death of Juliet. And now he thinks he's come to break into the tomb to do more awful things on the Capulet bodies, yeah, some horrific desecration. So I'm going to stop him, he says. So he steps forward. Remember, it's night time. Stop thou unhallowed toil, vile Montague. Can vengeance be pursued further than death? Condemned villain, I do apprehend thee. Obey and go with me, for thou must die. Yeah, how can you do this? How can you take vengeance beyond killing? You can try and do more. Now, Romeo, importantly, like I said, it's nighttime, does not recognise Paris. He doesn't realise it's him. I must indeed, and therefore came I hither. Good gentle youth, tempt not a desperate man. So firstly, he says, son, leave me alone. I am desperate, yeah? You're a good person. Don't wind me up. I am desperate, yeah? He tells him to run away. Fly hence and leave me. Think upon these gone. Let them affright thee. Imagine, think of all the ghosts here. Run away, let them frighten you away. I beseech thee, youth, put not another sin upon my head. Yeah, I'm about to commit the sin of suicide. And I've committed the sin of murder. Do not put another sin on me. Don't make me kill you. So he's very clear. I'm not going to be stopped. Run away, because I will go in there, and if you try and stop me, I'll kill you. Sorry, but put not another sin upon my head by urging me to fury. Sorry. Or be gone. By heaven, I love thee better than myself, for I come hither armed against myself. Stay not, be gone. Live, and hereafter say, a madman's mercy bade thee run away. So go away. I love you more than I love me. So I'm going to kill myself now, because he doesn't say that out loud. I don't want to kill you. So I love you more than I love me. Yeah? A madman's mercy bade thee run away. A madman was kind to you and saved your life by saying, run away, because I don't want to kill you, but I will if I have to. Come on, laptop. Paris has none of it. I do defy thy conjurations and apprehend thee for a felon here. Wilt thou provoke me, then have it thee, boy. And they fight. The page is watching. Oh Lord, they fight. I'll go and fetch the watch. He's going to fetch the soldiers who police the area. They fight, and Paris, I am slain. Romeo has killed Paris. Woof. I want to point something out here. This scene is often not performed in Romeo and Juliet. And both the film versions we use in school do not feature it. They cut this bit out. And it's an interesting thing to ask yourself, why? I would argue probably the reason they do this is because they want things to be straightforward. Romeo's a good guy. Romeo's just killed an innocent man. Paris has done nothing wrong at all. He's not part of the feud. He's done nothing to anybody all through the play. Everyone says what a nice bloke he is. And let's be honest, what's he trying to do here? He's trying to stop someone who he thinks is going to desecrate a grave. He doesn't deserve to die, but Romeo's just killed him. So I think maybe people who don't put this scene in are troubled by the idea that the audience likes Romeo and has sympathy for Romeo, and we feel, oh, we don't want him to kill himself. But then when he kills innocent Paris, maybe we might change our minds. We might think, oh, it's horrible, that's awful. He just killed an innocent man, but different from Tybalt does. And we might lose sympathy with him. So I think people aren't brave enough to put it in. I think Shakespeare's very clever in putting it in. It serves 2 points here. It illustrates how desperate he is to see Juliet one last time and to die with her. And also, you know, I think it shows the complication of humans. I think it's good characterization. People will do desperate things. Good people will have a point where they're pushed to do something that they shouldn't. Romeo has reached that point. He tried to warn the guy, but he's very clear. If you try and stop me, I'll kill you. So I think it's clever characterization by Shakespeare, but I do understand why maybe people making a film don't want to make him look like a murderer just before he's about to kill himself, because maybe the audience then, rather than thinking, oh, don't do it, Romeo, will be thinking, go on then, kill yourself. Horrible man. So he's killed Paris anyway. Oh, darn it. Paris has one last word. It says, if thou be merciful, open the tomb and lay me with Juliet. And then my laptop goes a bit nutty. Romeo has a look at who it actually is. It's responded now. In faith I will. Let me peruse this face. Mercutio's kinsman, noble county Paris. What said my man when my betossed soul did not attend him as we rode? I think he told me Paris should have married Juliet. Said he not so? Or did I dream it so? Or am I mad hearing him talk of Juliet to think it was so? Oh, give me thy hand, one wit with me in sour misfortune's book. I'll bury thee in a triumphant grave. Yeah, so I'm sorry. Now I realise it. You know, okay, and I think, didn't Balthazar say he was supposed to be marrying Juliet? Oh, come on then. We are both unlucky. Give me your hand, I'll bury you with Juliet as you asked. Yeah? A grave? Oh no, a lantern, slaughtered youth, for here lies Juliet, and her beauty makes this vault a feasting presence full of light. So he says, and then again, still continuing this light and dark imagery, he says, is it a grave? No, it's not. It's a lantern, it's a light, beautiful place, this tomb, because Juliet's here. Her beauty makes it a feasting presence full of light, like a feast, like a party. Yeah? Death, lie thou there, by a dead man interred. And he lays Paris in the tomb. And then this rather nice speech, when he says how strange it is that when men are at the point of death, they're happy. It's inexplicable. Sorry, it seems to me every time I jump a page. How oft, when men are at the point of death, have they been merry, which their keepers call a lightning before death? Or how may I call this a lightning? O my love, my wife, death hath sucked the honey of thy breath, hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. Thou art not conquered. Beauty's ensign yet is crimson in thy lips and in thy cheeks, and death's pale flag is not advanced there. So he sees Juliet, and and this is beautifully written, this. He can't believe how beautiful she looks. He feels she looks like she's alive. Yeah, she is alive, mate. That's why she looks like she's alive. Oh, and this is a fantastic piece of writing, because Shakespeare really brings home to the audience that we don't want this to happen. And he does it with this irony of Romeo constantly saying she looks like she's alive. The pale flag of death has not conquered her face. She still looks nice. She's not white yet. Yeah, because she's still alive, mate. So the audience are there thinking, don't kill yourself, mate. She's alive. She's not dead. For God's sake, Romeo, don't do it. Don't do it. And so it's great. And so because of that, Romeo's speech is quite long. Because we want to wind the audience up more and more. So he's already gone and looked at her and gone through a detailed description of her. Lips are still red. Her cheeks are not pale. She still looks as beautiful as if she was alive. Now he'll go off and talk to Tybalt and apologise to Tybalt's body. Again, just dragging this out longer and longer. And all along, we're all in the audience going, don't do it. Don't kill yourself, son. Don't do it. Lawrence, hurry up. Where are you, you slow monk? Tybalt, liest thou there in thy bloody sheet? Or what more favour can I do to thee than with that hand that cut thy youth in twain, to sunder his that was thine enemy? Forgive me, cousin. Yeah, so, Tybalt, I'm so sorry I killed you. The best favour I can do to you is to kill myself with the hand that killed you. And then back to Juliet. Ah, dear Juliet, why art thou still so fair? Yeah, why is she still so beautiful? Because she's alive, Romeo. Open your eyes, look at it. Shall I believe? And this horrible image, he's going to say now, he's going to personify death and say that death, the scary skeleton of death, when he sees that she's dead and she's beautiful, decides he's going to take her as his bride. So he'll keep her dead but beautiful. Yeah? Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous, and that the lean abhorred monster keeps thee here in dark to be his paramour, to be his lover? For fear of that, I still will stay with thee, and never from this palace of dim night depart again. Well, I'm going to protect you from him. I'm going to stay here. I will never leave here again. I'm going to kill myself, join you in death to protect you from death. Here will I remain, with worms that are thy chambermaids. Oh, here will I set up my everlasting rest, and shake the yoke of inauspicious stars from this world-wearied flesh. So again, fate, this last reference by him to fate. I will defy fate. He said before he'll defy fate. I will shake off the yoke of inauspicious stars. The stars decide what we're going to do in our lives. The stars decide our fate. Well, I'm going to reject that now and take my own life and take control. And now he's really building up to killing himself, isn't he? And now the audience are really, don't do it, don't do it. Eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace. And lips, O you, the doors of death, seal with a righteous kiss a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Kisses her before he kills himself and picks up the poison, which goes a conduct because it will take him from this world to the next. It will conduct him there like a conductor on a bus. Do they sell conductors on buses? No, they don't. On a train. They used to have conductors on buses when I was a kid, when I was a grown-up as well. Come, bitter conduct. Come, unsavoury guide. Thou desperate pilot, now at once run on the dashing rocks of the seasick weary bark. Here's to my love. So he says to the conduct, you are the pilot of a ship. I know you think captain's captain of a ship, but a pilot, when a boat's coming into harbour, they get a local person called a pilot who knows the bay and where all the shallow bits are to guide the boat in, because the captain wouldn't know. And so you're the pilot of my bark, my ship, barco in Spanish. So bark is a ship, my body is the ship, and you, I want you to guide me, but guide me onto the rocks, because my body is seasick and weary. Here's to my love, like cheers. And he drinks the poison. Oh, man. Oh, true apothecary, thy drugs are quick. You know, well done, chemist. These are proper hardcore stuff. Thus, with a kiss, I die. He kisses Juliet, and he dies. Romeo's dead. Happy ending, fans. This is starting to look less likely. And of course, directors play this in different ways. You know, there's versions where Friar Lawrence will turn up just as he's dying, enter at the other end of the churchyard, Friar Lawrence with a lantern, crow and spade. So he has not gone in yet. Some versions you'll see will be a bit more dramatic in the timing of this. But in Shakespeare's reading of it, Romeo's now dead. Now we go back outside and Friar Lawrence is outside. St. Francis, be my speed. How oft tonight have my old feet stumbled to graves. Who's there? He hears a noise. It's Balthazar. Here's one a friend and one that knows you well. Bliss be upon you. Tell me, good my friend, what torch is yon that vainly lends his light to grubs and eyeless skulls, as I discern it burneth in the Capel's monument? What's that light in the monument of the Capulets? It doth so, holy sir, and there's my master, one that you love. Who is it? Romeo. Oh, it's working. Anyway, everything's slowing down here. Just as we get to the conclusion, eh? Just as we get to the drama. So Romeo's in there. How long has he been there? Full half an hour. Go with me to the vault. I dare not, sir. My master knows not, but I am gone hence, and fearfully did menace me with death if I did stay to look on his intents. Stay then, I'll go alone. Fear comes upon me. Oh, much I fear some ill and lucky thing. Oh, man. Come on. So Friar Lawrence now is the one who is getting a bad feeling about this. And Balthazar, as I did sleep under this yew tree here, I dreamt my master in another fort, and that my master slew him. He said, I was just sleeping under the tree, but I thought I dreamt that he killed somebody. So Friar Lawrence is getting inside. Romeo! And advances, and then sees blood. It's Paris's blood, isn't it? Alack, alack, what blood is this, which stains the stony entrance of this sepulchre? What mean these masterless and gory swords to lie discoloured by this place of peace? He enters the tomb and sees Romeo. Romeo, oh, pale, who else? What, Paris too, and steeped in blood? Oh, what an unkind hour is guilty of this lamentable chance. And then Juliet starting to make her. The lady stirs, and Juliet starts to wake. Sorry. O comfortable friar, where is my lord? I do remember well where I should be, and there I am. Where's my Romeo? There's noise. People are coming. Remember, Paris's page went to fetch the army. Yeah. I hear some noise, lady. Come from that nest of death, contagion, and unnatural sleep. A greater power than we can contradict hath thwarted our intents. Come away. Thy husband in thy bosom there lies dead, and Paris too. Come, I'll dispose of thee among a sisterhood of holy nuns. Stay not to question, for the watch is coming. Come, go, good Juliet. So Friar Lawrence is like, right, look, plans failed. There's Romeo, he's dead. There's Paris, he's dead and all. Both options closed now. So come quickly with me. You don't want to get caught and in trouble, does he? Come quickly with me, and I'll put you in a sisterhood of holy nuns. He'll put her in a nunnery for the rest of her life. Lawrence looking after her, or Lawrence trying to cover his tracks? Up to you. There's noise again, and he says, I dare no longer stay. Juliet, go, get thee hence, for I will not away. Yeah, and Lawrence loans off. Gotta say, personal opinion, I think Lawrence is an idiot. He screwed up the message to Romeo. I think he comes up with some ideas that look fancy, but I think are quite dumb. There are easier ways out of this situation, or admittedly wouldn't be as good a story if he just says to Juliet, well, escape with Romeo, and then I'll explain to your parents. But it'd be more likely to be a happy ending, wouldn't it? And there, to try and avoid trouble, he runs off. I don't like that. He runs off. It's inevitable. Juliet wants to kill herself with Romeo. She does not want to carry on living. Friar Lawrence is not going to waste any of his breath trying to convince her otherwise. He runs off. Wow. He didn't exactly fight with her. She just says, go away, I'm not going. And he runs off. And then Juliet. Now, you had Romeo's suicide speech, which lasts a long time because the audience has hope that this can all work out well. And so we're stringing the audience along. Shall we be honest here? Juliet, it's not going to end well. She wants to kill herself. She doesn't want to go anywhere. She's going to kill herself now. So this speech is short. There's no tension now. The bad thing has happened. And so she sees the cup, well, the vial that is holding the poison that Romeo drank. What's here? A cup closed in my true love's hand. Poison, I see, hath been his timeless end. O churl, drunk all and left no friendly drop to help me after. I will kiss thy lips. Haply some poison yet doth hang on them to make die with a restorative. So, you drunk all the poison, you selfish devil. Well, I'll kiss your lips. Hopefully there's some poison on your lips. So she kisses him. Oh, thy lips are warm. Oh, she's upset. He must have just died. The watchmen are getting closer. One of them shouting, which way, which way? He's asking the page to take him into where the trouble happened. Yea, noise, I'll be brief. Oh, happy dagger, snatching the Romeo's dagger. This is thy sheath. And she stabs herself. There, rust, and let me die. Happy dagger, this is thy sheath. There, rust, and let me die. The dagger is stored in a sheath. Yeah, on your belt, you'd have like a holder for it. I am the sheath of the dagger. Rust there, let me die. She falls on Romeo's body and dies. They were rushing into it, though, weren't they? Romeo's dream at the start of the scene. I dreamt that I was dead and Juliet brought me back to life. Ironically, it's similar to what happens, but not quite. Now the next bit, because I think we will finish this today, because there's not much now. The next bit is exposition. It's the police describing the scene, fetching the Capulets, Montagues and Aeschylus. They've, as you see, they're caught friar. Here's a friar that trembles, sighs and weeps. So they've kept hold of him as a witness. Yeah. There's sort of outcry in the streets as all the rumours are going round as to what has happened, and they're all turning up. And the grief that is shown by Capulet and Lady Capulet now is much more sincere. Remember when Juliet faked her death in order perhaps to send a message to the audience? It was all a bit over the top. And now it is much more genuine. Capulet, when he sees the body of Juliet, "O heavens, O wife, look how our daughter bleeds. This dagger hath mistaken, for lo, his house is empty on the back of Montague." He's taking out the Montague's sheath is empty, it's in Juliet. "And it missheathed in my daughter's bosom." Shakespeare perhaps looking to just re-emphasise the link and the love between Capulet and Juliet, despite what happened a couple of scenes ago when he was so aggressive to her, because he uses the same language Juliet did about the sheath. She is now the sheath of the dagger. And Lady Capulet, "Oh me, the sight of death is as a bell that warns my old age to a sepulchre. Seeing this feels like a message to me that I'm going to hurry myself to death. This will kill me." Montague comes in. Prince tells him about it. Tells him about it. Says, "Look, there's your son. Alas, my liege, my wife is dead tonight. Grief of my son's exile has stopped her breath." You don't see that in the films, generally. Lady Montague's dead. She's so upset at Romeo being exiled that she's died of grief. "What further woe conspires against mine age? Look and thou shalt see." I can't believe it. "O thou untaught, what manners is in this, to press before thy father to a grave? Why have you died before me? You're my son. It shouldn't have happened." Now, Aeschylus says we need to find out what happened. So he questions Lawrence. We don't need this. It's exposition. You don't need this. Aeschylus just questions Lawrence, and Lawrence explains the whole plan. So we all now know what's happened. He then interviews Balthazar, who explains what he has. Okay, the page, Paris's page. So this is all exposition. This is all going through what we've read today. Yeah, and Aeschylus then is able to establish from that the letter, everything matches up, and what Lawrence said is true, that this was a sort of plot in order to bring them together, the families, and that they did love each other. And so, when my laptop behaves itself, oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry about this. dear me, it's really messing me around here. No, it's before that. Okay, let's make through the friar's words. Okay. So, massive amount of exposition, and then Aeschylus says, "Where be these enemies? Capulet Montague?" And he points at the dead bodies. "See what scourge is laid upon your hate, that heaven finds means to kill your joys with love. And I, for winking at your discords too, have lost a brace of kinsmen. All are punished. Beg your pardon." So he says to Capulet Montague, "Look at you idiots, you've been arguing and you won't settle it, and you've let the argument continue, and now your children are dead. The heavens' fate again has killed your joys, your children with love." And he said, "I'm punished as well because I winked at your discords. I failed to stop it all, and so I am punished too, because two good people are dead now." And then comes this bit, which scholars of Shakespeare often say is not written by Shakespeare. Remember, Shakespeare wrote these plays half a century ago, nearly. And as a result, didn't have word processors. God, I went old then. Didn't have laptops and things like that. So, he'd write it on paper. Bits could get lost. Bits could get added as well, because like a theatre might change the script to suit the actors they've got, or somebody in the theatre troupe might think, "Oh, I'm clever. I've got a good idea. I'll do this," and add bits. And so the published versions of Shakespeare's plays, scholars have afterwards thought maybe some of them aren't by Shakespeare. Maybe these are bits of paper written by someone else that people have found and thought this must be Shakespeare's work. Some people feel this ending, this bit we're about to read, is added on by somebody else. Some people think it's a cute ending by Shakespeare. Just have a look, see what you think. Capulet says, "Oh, brother Montague, give me thy hands. This is my daughter's jointure, for no more can I demand." So remember, when there was a marriage, there'd be a dowry. We've seen that word used already. Essentially, almost like a transfer fee in football. The groom's family would pay the bride's family some money. Jointure is the word he uses for it in this case. Almost like to buy the daughter into their family. And so Capulet says, "I can't give you anything more than this. Shake my hand, let's end the feud. I can't ask for any more. I can't ask for any more as a jointure. Let's end the feud." But then Montague says, "But I can give thee more. For I will raise her statue in pure gold, that while Verona by that name is known, there shall no figure at such rate be set as that of true and faithful Juliet." So he says, "Well, I can give you more. I'm going to make a statue of your daughter in pure gold, so that everybody will remember her." And Capulet says, "Rich shall Romeo's by his ladies lie, for poor sacrifices for our enmity." So I'll make a statue exactly the same out of gold next to it, so that people can see Romeo as well. Right, questions. Is this a dumb ending written by someone else? Like, oh, let's just make a happy ending. Let's say they both build statues in gold of each other's children, and then it's all lovely. Which feels clumsy. Is it a clever ending? Maybe Shakespeare did write a clever ending, because Capulet starts by saying, "Look, all I can do is shake your hand and end the feud." But then Montague has to go on better. "Well, I can do more than that. I can build a statue of your daughter out of gold." And then Capulet has to then counter, "Well, I can do that as well. Do it under your son." Is this the argument sort of growing again? So maybe, I don't know. And then the prince ends the play. "A glooming peace this morning with it brings. The sun for sorrow will not show his head. Go hence to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned, and some punished. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo." So he says there won't be punishments. Interestingly, Friar Lawrence, watch out. But he ends it with this rhyming couplet, "For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo." Well, thank you for being patient with me. We finished the play. Sorry about the technological issues I had sometimes. Maybe I was a little bit ambitious in some of the things I tried with the graphics and stuff, but I think it was worth giving it a stab. I'll refine it a bit further. And, well, may see you on Monday, who knows. But look after yourselves and keep reading.